And a pleasant good evening to you. Welcome to The Works. I'm Keith Williams, your host. And this is the podcast where we pretty much talk about anything and everything. Whether you're a business owner, you are into politics, um, self health, whatever it may be, this is a general interest talk show where we pretty much talk about anything and everything. And we have a very special guest with us today. Some of you may or may not know this individual. Uh, he is a popular artist, one half of the group known as Tag Team, very popular in the 90s. Uh, and we have one of the members with us today, DC Glenn.
What's going on?
It is so great to finally get a chance to talk with you.
Hey man, you know how it goes. You know how it goes.
Uh,
Thank you for that great introduction. I don't know about all that, but hey, I'll take it.
uh, you know, um, I'm Gen X, and so I grew up listening to music from the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Mhm.
And of course, in the 90s, was like the golden age of hip hop.
Yeah, man. It was definitely I definitely feel blessed to have grown up in that era.
So, for starters, tell everybody who you are.
Okay, good evening everybody. My name is DC Glenn, aka DC the Brain Supreme of Tag Team, half the creator of the song Whoop. There it is. And today I am very tired because I've been hustling this song for the last 30 years. And it don't stop. It's my forever groundhog day. But I have been so blessed and I have um, curated my life in a way that I am masterful at many talents. And I can't wait to share them with people because I've come up with a lot of practical solutions that might be the one thing that gets you to where you want to be in your life. So, whatever questions you have, whatever things are bothering you, or just you want to know things, have at it because I've lived a full life and I can't wait to talk about it. So, let's get it.
All right. So first of all, you are a well-renowned and respectable artist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Very popular song, that came out, a one-hit wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how did you get into the music career, and what brought about the song "Whoop There It Is"? How did that came about?
Well, for the most part, I've been in the music my whole life, and it started when I was a young teenager, and one of the first songs that I ever listened to or the type of genre I started listening to is electronic music. I heard the Rapper's Delight and stuff like that, and my father used to listen to all the '70s R&B artists. But when I heard Planet Rock, Pac Jam, Soul Sonic Force, stuff of that nature, that was the beginning of hip hop, the beginning of the b-boy era, and I just became enthralled in all things hip hop, all things singing in the band. I just became enthralled in music, and everybody laughed at me, and I just kept going, and I just kept honing my talents. Graduated high school, went to Sac State, got better at DJing, got better at rapping, got better at making music and putting beats together, and just got better at everything overall. And finished up there and moved to Atlanta because Steve was down here going to the Art Institute, and we're making songs. And I ended up working at a club called Magic City, and several of the biggest clubs in Atlanta in the late '80s and the '90s. So I was in a perfect position to test all the records that I would make at home on a drum machine. And that's kind of how it happened. I just Whoop There It Is was a song that we made. We were in the Southeast, so the Southeast is all about up tempo music and bass music, and we were hip hop. So I knew we were never going to be able to get out of the Southeast unless we made some up tempo stuff. And our first attempt was Whoop There It Is, and you know my hubris as a young man, I always thought it was going to be a big record, but I kind of stopped playing it. It was like 92. And in 93, I started playing it again. And one of the record reps was in the club that night. And he was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's my new record, dog." He's like, "Give me that." Took it up to New York, gave it to Columbia Records. I was like, "Hey, I could do this with all the labels." So now I got all the labels talking to me about this song, Whoop There It Is. And people think, 30 years later, people think that it was this formula, this Ben Manhattan project. And it's just about, you know, a Friday night, guys chasing girls, drinking, having a good time. The same thesis of every country record, blues record, rock and roll record, hip hop record ever made. And I'm talking to all these labels, and they don't know what to do with it because back then it was only New York and LA, and we're in Atlanta. And I almost gave up, and I was told to call this gentleman named Al Bell. For those who know who Al Bell is, he was in the beginning of soul music in the 70s. There were three labels. You'll understand this. There was Philly International, there was Motown with Berry Gordy, and there was Stax Records with Al Bell. And Al Bell, the year before, put out a record called Daisy Dukes, and it went gold. So I was like, "Hey man, I can do that. I can go gold." And I called him. Took him about 2 weeks to call me back, and he called me, and I was like, "Look, dude, I got a hit record. I've tested it. It is a street record in Atlanta. Everybody loves it. You're gonna make a lot of money." He was like, "Okay, let's do it." I was like, no, 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 don't play with me." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Man, you ain't even heard the record." He was like, "Brother, I don't have to hear the record. I hear it in your spirit. Let's agree to agree, and let's get this thing moving." And I gave my 2 weeks in Magic City, signed a messed up record contract, and in a month and a half, tag team was platinum, and the rest is history.
Wow. And and I noticed when I listened to it that it has some of that le- electronic flavor in it. I
Mm-hmm.
think you mentioned that you used to listen to electronic music. So
Mm-hmm.
it's some elements of that, and as well as the hip hop part.
Mm-hmm.
Uh any
Yeah.
artists that a- any
Go ahead.
artists that you look up to
Not
growing
really,
up?
because I don't listen to music anymore. After I stopped DJing, it's all about SEO and life and being my own publicist and learning how to code and all the things of that nature. I listen to old music. I listen to gospel music, but once I stopped DJing in 2015. I just don't listen to music anymore. And it's one of those things where I've been a DJ all my life, so there are some certain fundamental things about DJing that's not going to change. But I get to use all those gut instincts in everyday life. Because if you're not a good DJ and you don't keep the dance floor packed, see, people don't even know about a dance floor these days. But back then, if you didn't keep the dance floor packed, you wasn't a good DJ, right? That has to comes from reading the room. That comes from reading humanity. That comes from having a system of how you play the records, how you entertain people, how you create the mood, and how you make your audience trust you to play new records. All those things that I became masterful at over the years, and that never leaves you. So I'm actually always DJing in my life because I'm figuring things out. I'm keeping the dance floor packed, and that's the key, right? If we go on the road every weekend. I'm in front of 20,000 people, 10,000 people. You better know how to read that room, or you might be in front of 100 people. You better know how to read that room and still give them everything you've got. And when you do that, they appreciate it. They appreciate it so much, and that's what I do.
Has DJing changed over the years, or is practically the same?
No, it's changed because before it was about dancing, And before you had to be a good DJ to keep the party going. In the beginning of hip hop, there was one question: can you rock a party? Can you move a crowd? That's what I live my life by. So now, I mean, you know, DJing cats is playing records, but they're not using their fundamentals. They don't understand the structure of music. They don't understand that if there's a four, measure introduction, then you have to wait four measures if you have an eight measure introduction on the record that you're bringing in. When are you going to come in on the bridge? Are you going to just throw the song in? Are you going to come in the middle of a verse? That's what they do. But I was always smooth. I always knew when to bring the record in, how to bring it out, to where you would elevate the energy level and take people on a roller coaster ride. And by the end of the night, in my clubs, there was going to be weave on the floor, glass was going to be broken, throw up everywhere, heels broke. And that's when you know you've done a good job. And all the alcohol in the club has been sold. It's more to it than that. You got to make yourself invaluable. And that's what I've always done. That's the lessons and, the life lessons that I teach people. I wasn't just a DJ. I was your light guy, your sound guy. I did your graphic arts. I did your radio spots. I did your voiceover. I did your fashion photography using the women so we could have nice flyers. I did all of that. You had to hire 10 people to do everything that I did in one person. You make yourself invaluable. You do that. Worst case scenario, your transition to the next thing is easier because you've acquired tools in your toolbox to help you become ambidextrous in life where nothing can stop you. And that's what I've done. Spent a lifetime learning. I love to learn more than anything now. You ask me about music. I love to learn how to learn. I'm at a conference every other week trying to learn. I'm in 25 different organizations because if I want to learn about something, I can learn about it in a week joining an organization, because organizations are filled with people who have been doing their thing for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and they can't wait to put you on game. And now you know it. Then the next thing, once you know if it's for you or not, now it's up to your hustle. And I take pride in my hustle because as a grown man, I attribute everything I am to my parents because they made me and my brother work like dogs when we were kids. And I used to hate it when I was a child, but I just give them all praises because as a grown man, I do not fear work. So I want it to be hard because I know everybody else is not going to do it, but I am. And I just love to learn new things, put them into my big ball of focus, and you end up becoming masterful at several things that help every part of your life. And that's why I'm having a ball right now.
How do you see DJing presently?
In what aspect?
Um I think you mentioned back in the day that DJing back in the day, people was dancing, they was partying, they
Mm-hmm.
was having a good time, but now I don't see too much of that
Yeah, it's changed. The
right
paradigm is
now.
shifting, right? But if, you know, I could never probably DJ again because I knew that time had passed for me, right? Because as you get older, the things you used to love, you kind of end up hating. You know what I mean? It just happens. Or you become more mature and that that atmosphere isn't for me now. But I still get to DJ because if we do an hour show, the first half I'm DJing my old set in the 90s. You see
Mhm,
what I'm saying?
mhm.
So there's still room for it, right? And I still can do it. But for me as a DJ, I take the lessons that I learned and all the principles. And for me, the most important thing that DJing has done for me is that I had a front row seat to humanity. Because I'm looking at 3,000 people in a big club and I'm driving the bus. And depending on what I do, What their reaction depends on what I do. And 95% of the time, that reaction is positive. So therefore, I've just acquired the ability to be able to do all those things, to be able to rock the party, to move the crowd, and just always be effective. Like people, I went to a conference. I'm part of the NSA, National Speakers Association, because I'm a speaker. And people are like, well, "What do you speak about?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of ambidextrous. I can speak about anything." And they're like, "Well, you got to have something you speak about." And I'm like, "Well," and I have to explain to them. It's kind of like DJing, right? When you're DJing, I go to work with 3 crates of records. We're talking back in the day, right? I go with 3 crates of records. Now, I'm not playing the same records that I played the night before. I'm not playing, I'm looking at the crowd. I got to see what the crowd's doing. So if there's 500, 500 is different than 3,000. So I'm going to DJ differently for 500 people than I would for 3,000. You see what I'm saying? So for me, everything I do has to do with DJing, because in a speaker thing, if I'm speaking, my records are PowerPoint slides, right? And how I switch those slides up and how I play them is how I rock that house to get my point across and to motivate people and to inspire them to be better in their lives. Same concept. So everything I do comes back to DJing, comes back to the essence of hip hop, right? And I'm just so proud of that, man.
So it sounds like to me that, you have taken the art of DJing and, you're using it for, the other hats, that
Mm-hmm.
you wear. Am I getting that correctly?
I mean, it's all relative. I'm an actor, so sometimes acting spills into voiceover, but then voiceover was a part of me DJing because I rocked the mic. But then rocking the mic is a part of my hip hop career because I am part of tag team. You see what I'm saying? They all
Mhm.
intertwine with each other. Now they're all mutually exclusive because DJing, rocking the mic is not doing voiceover, right? I'm not gonna go try to sell a product, and I'm not gonna do a trailer, this week on NBC. I can't do, the hype man this week on NBC. It's a difference. That's why radio DJs struggle with voiceover. I had to learn it. I had to get in the trenches and understand that these are two different things. Because my hubris as a young person led me to believe that I could whoop there it is my way through anything. But I was wrong. You have to put in the work, right? So I'll put in years worth of work, and then one thing helps you with another. Voiceover helps me with acting. Acting helps me with voiceover. You see what I'm saying? Because the principles are kind of the same. And that's how I call it my big ball of focus. If it doesn't fit into my big ball of focus, I have to say no. I get opportunities thrown at me every day, but I have to say no to a lot because it doesn't fit in my big ball of focus, which is the quest for mastery. Now, I don't believe you can ever master anything, but you can be in the ballpark. And if you're in the ballpark, you're going to get that money, right? And it's a way of thinking, it's the quest that keeps you successful. And I feel like I'm just starting because I'm learning. It's a new world, especially after COVID. After COVID, it's a whole new world, and people still waiting for things to get back the way they used to be. When it's like you got a fresh new plate, you better learn something new. You better figure it
Yeah.
out because it's there
I,
for
I
you,
I don't think we ever going to get back to where we were before
and that's
the
okay.
pandemic hit.
You gotta grow, but people be stuck in their ways, man. And then
Yeah.
people use that as a crutch to not do things and to be lazy and to steal and to whatever, right? And I just keep pushing. I plant seeds and keep it moving.
And also too, I see a lot of distractions,
Yeah.
that are coming people's way that, that keep them from really focused on what it is that they want, what is what they want to do, what they want to have. and they just pretty much stay in their comfort zone. They don't want to do something different. I always hear, in order to get to where you need to go, you need to do something that you never done.
Hey, it's, that's the way it always is. And
Mhm.
people ask me all the time, how do you do all these new things and take on these new projects and do five things at once? And it's like, aren't you scared? I'm like, yeah, but you could be scared and keep it moving. Because, I was talking about this in the mastermind today. I was like, what some people see as scared, some people see as excitement. What some people see as excitement, some people see as anxiety. But any of those things that get your adrenaline up, once you jump into them, you're thinking, I can't believe I was tripping on that because you kept it moving,
Mhm.
right? Like a stationary car, right? A stationary vehicle is harder to move than a vehicle that's moving. If the car already moving, it's hard. If the car is already moving, it's easy to move it. Just move along with it. And people don't get that. People get stuck, right? Because they're not thinking about solutions. They're only thinking about the problems. So that's the classic thing where either you're gonna look at the glass half full or the glass half empty. I choose to look at the glass half full because there's always a good side to it. And I look at the glass half empty because there's clues in negativity. People always say keep negative people away from you. I'm like, nah, you want them as close to you as possible because there there's always positivity and negativity. There's always two sides of one thing. If they throw me into the bizarro world, I know how to adapt because I can switch and be positive and flourish in the bizarro world, right? Because a lot of people are living in a backwards world right now. You know what I'm saying? And they
Yeah.
don't know how to deal with it. So they become what they think this world is, as opposed to switching their brain, thinking differently, and then flourishing.
Before we get into some topics here that you know you would like to share, for the listening audience, want to talk about a little bit of the hats that you wear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Besides being an expert in the music industry, you also engage in acting, voiceover, as well versed in uh, SEO, which is, of course, search engine optimization,
Mm-hmm.
public relations,
Mm-hmm.
marketing, social media, fashion photography, and as well as a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, DC Glenn is also an actor and voice artist with the People Store Agency in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And also recently, um, he was featured in um, one of the most profound commercials in the country, a Geico commercial.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
Hustle, right? That comes about because in 2011, I couldn't take advantage of an opportunity because I couldn't be found, right? The world thought that Barack Obama was in our video. So we did press for like 2 weeks, and I was mad because at the end of that 2 weeks, I had no money in my pocket. And I had to figure out why. And when those traumatic events happened in my life, I vowed that that will never happen again. And I will get the knowledge. I will learn what I got to learn to not let that happen again. And that's what started my SEO career, the ability to be on the first page of Google, to be able to understand what Google does, understand Google's algorithms, understand digital marketing, understand social media, build websites. How do they relate? How do you get in front of the people that can pay you? And fast forward 2020, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I get a call from my agent at the People Store, Miss Lena. She's like, DC, you booked a Geico commercial. I'm like, don't pay me, Lena. I haven't even auditioned for a Geico commercial. She's like, no, DC, tag team. I was like, oh, go check the tag team phone. There's the message. They didn't wait for me to call them back. They went and found me because I could be found. They went to my IMDb page. My IMDb profile's filled out. They called my agent for acting. I let my agent make that deal because I don't got to get lawyers. I don't got to even be involved. I let my agent do it. And it is the biggest, most lucrative deal I have ever done in my life. That's what SEO did for me. Right? And I don't care what nobody say. If I don't do SEO, they don't find me. They might have had 5 groups lined up to do a different Geico commercial, but they found me. Once they found me, my thing is always take one opportunity, turn it into 10. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We can't even go do shows. Usually you get a Geico commercial, you blow up. Can't blow up because we're in a pandemic. I'm like, let me get a publicist so I can blow up my acting and just get out there and let people know. All the publicists were like, well, we're in a pandemic. We don't know what to do. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be my own damn publicist. I joined. That's why I joined organizations. I joined the Public Relations Society of America. 2 days
And
in,
also,
Super Bowl week. You see what I'm saying?
and
Super
also,
Bowl week.
Mhm.
I'm on this big Zoom call with the CEO. I'm like, a press release is relevant. She's like, what's it for? I'm like, well, it kind of featured in a Geico commercial called Scoop. There it is. I'm looking at the chat. Wait a minute, what's he doing here? My mama, my mama, my mama love that commercial. My daddy love that commercial. Now the whole chat is about me because I'm DC from Tag Team and I got a Geico commercial. And the CEO's like, yes, that commercial is going to work. I mean, that press release is going to work because the whole last year has been about COVID. And the whole last year has been political. And here you guys come spinning scoops and throwing sprinkles and DC or smile. You're going to go here for all the publicists, here for all TV talk show hosts, here for all of the, press. You're going to go here for all the podcasters. She gave me the entire breadth of her experience in 10 minutes. And it has changed my life forever. And it is the reason that you and I are talking right now.
and
Right.
it's funny because you brought a little bit of, nostalgia, in that commercial, and that really got people, talking. Oh, I remember, the song, that tag team,
Mm-hmm.
did back in the day. It was like a really a breath of fresh air from all the negativity, that we've been,
Yes.
experiencing over the years.
That's what we've always
With the
been. It's about we
coronavirus
don't us. It's
pandemic that
always
was
been about the
always in the
party.
news. Mhm.
Yeah. Always and forever, it will always be about the party. That's it. We keep it simple. Last night, the we were on the Masked Singer. That aired last night. That's another shot in the arm, right? You keep creating relevance. Then I dropped another press release today. Now people are calling my phone because they might not have seen the Masked Singer, but they saw that headline that we were on the Masked Singer. That means something.
Oh yeah, I watch that show frequently. you
And
know, and I'd be like, playing along with them, who this person is, who
yeah,
that person is, and 9 times out of 10, I never get it right.
and last night was 90s night. That's why they called us. We did that 3 months ago. And they called us on a Thursday. We were there taping it on a Saturday. And we're never home on the weekends. We're always doing shows. You see what I'm saying? But they call me. How do they know to call me? Because I can be found. Right? If you need a 90s group, you can find me. If I was a plumber, if you need a plumber, you'll be able to find me. I know SEO. What else is there but the ability to get in front of the people who can pay you? Everybody's like, you got to make TikTok videos. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. I'm like, no, you don't. I don't need 100,000 people to like me. I just need 100 people to pay me.
Yeah,
Practical.
right. And that's the thing that's kind of don't sit right with me because you have all these social media influencers, and they have, hundreds of thousands of, millions of followers. Like for example, I did an interview with a guy who says that he has nearly 2 million
Mm-hmm.
TikTok followers. So I mean, well, to each his own. Obviously that you have, you know, a formula that's definitely, working for you.
But that
Uh,
they're young. They're gonna do stupid stuff on camera, and everybody that is just as ignorant as them is gonna love it, right? And
mhm.
that's the way it go. But there's always another way. That's what people don't understand, right? There is nobody bigger than Google. Period. So Google gives you the recipe. Google says this is how you need to do this platform. This is how you need to do this. This is how you do that. Most people don't listen because they don't know how. And Google gives me the recipe. Google is a robot. Google's not in his feelings. The algorithm doesn't like me. Google's a robot. And Google gives you the recipe. So what you gonna do? You're gonna be a 5-star Michelin chef, or you're gonna be a short order cook. That's the difference. So I have dedicated the last 12 years of my life to learning SEO, and now I am masterful at it. I can put myself in front of the people who can pay me. And that's how you keep your relevance alive. Because if I have a TV performance, I can amplify that 100 times over. Now, opportunities are falling to me out the sky. It might not come to me today or tomorrow. It might come to me a year from now. But the whole point is to plant the seeds and let them grow. And the other point is, I don't expect anything. I just hustle. There is no quid pro quo. I'm gonna plant a seed, sit down, be like, okay, seed, I need you to grow. Come on, seed, grow. Man, this seed don't grow. This seed don't even work. I quit. How many people we know like that?
A
Most.
lot.
You see what I'm saying? Because everybody's expecting something. First thing I tell people, ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. Ever. You gotta go take it. And it is there for you because if somebody else knows something, what, my brain don't work as good as their brain? It's about the hustle. How can I go hustle and find out what they know? It's out there, but people don't want to do that because it requires work. It requires sacrifice. It requires pain. It requires frustration. But all those negative connotations can be turned into positive energy because when you achieve something, all that stuff disappears. Then you go into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And you're always getting better. Life isn't passing you by. You're not deteriorating. I'm watching people deteriorate because they don't want to learn something new. That's just unacceptable to me. You get one life, and the choices you make dictate what happens in that life. And I'm going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off. That's just me. I can't be no other way, my brother.
So you pretty much hit the nail on the head with some of the things that wanted you to talk about to the audience. Like for example, the tenacity it takes to fight your way back to
Mm-hmm.
success, or never quitting and realizing all of your dreams.
Yeah. Because I don't, you can't see them as failures. You just see them as attempts. I attempted to do this once. I'm going to keep on trying. I became a licensed commodities broker, right? I said, let me go in here and pass this test, fail this. I could take it 3 times. Let me go fail it once just so I can see what's on the test. Once I saw what was on the test, then I knew how to study for it. I passed the second time. That's learn how to learn. You see what I'm saying? There's
Mhm.
no right way or wrong way to do stuff. If they make a new tax law, I'm not going to be pissed off that they made a new tax law. I'm going to understand that they made that tax law for a reason. Who is that tax law going to benefit? Oh, well, let me adapt my company to benefit from that tax law instead of being pissed off about it. Like, Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. They don't teach us that. They're not supposed to teach you. Who said they were supposed to teach us anything? And if they try to teach you, you wouldn't listen anyway. Because you think you know everything and don't know nothing. We know a lot of people like that too, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you understand what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I choose to hustle. I keep my head down. Any negativity that comes in my way or any criticism, I don't react to it. I'm thinking, this dude is full of it. But what if what he was saying about me was true? What would I do about it? There lies the nugget, right? There lies the positive aspect within all of that negativity. And then you put that in your toolbox and it makes you a better person and you keep it moving. So I keep negative people around me. What if negative people are some of the people that you love most in the world? You better figure out how to adapt to it. You better learn how to use their negativity as your motivation. Right? Everybody goes through we all go through it. And people are not, I wouldn't say people are hating, they just don't know. And they only know what they know. But I always try to find the nuggets in negativity because nobody else is even thinking like that. And all I do is think solutions. I love when people come to me with problems and complaining because I'm like, I ask them one question, well, what's the solution? What? What's the solution? They ain't even thinking about it because they wallowing in the misery of their problems. And I said, I could tell you the solution for you because that's all I do is think solutions. And then I put that in my toolbox, and now I have a tool shed, which turns into a not Home Depot yet. I would say an Ace Hardware. Now, anything that happens in my life, I got a tool to fix it because I put together a lifetime of tools that help me, that are practical, that come from negativity and are turned into positive. Just move positive motion forward. So that's just how I feel. Okay. People can say, man, you positive, you pie in the sky, but there's a reality to it. There sure is. Your reality is your reality. I can only control what I do. I can't control what nobody else do. I control what I do though. And this is my motto. I am not going to lose to me. Ever. How many people, lose to themselves? Because they give up. Because they're all over the place. I am not going to lose to me. I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to do what needs to be done. Now, I might miss some things. I might lose to somebody else. But it's still going to make me better. But I'm definitely not going to lose to me. You got me up here, TD Jackson. But it's real, man. I'm out here hustling, man. And I'm trying to help people, give them practical solutions. And if that's why I do 2 or 3 podcasts a day, because if all I'm trying to do is talk to people about the things I wish someone had talked to me about when I was a young man. And if I could change somebody's life who's 21, 22, or even 15 or 12, it's worth it, man. I don't need no money for this because I get what I want first. Simple.
And I'm quite based on, what you have mentioned to the audience so far is that you are definitely an expert in taking tragedy, and pain, and make it work, for you, such as uh, the contract that you have,
Yeah.
signed, back in the day.
Yep. It was a 15-year legal battle. But you look at the glass half empty or half full, basically became a paralegal. I know I'm gonna get my day in court, so you better learn what they talking about so you can understand what they doing to you. That's why I became a licensed commodity broker because I was not gonna get beat out of my money ever again. So I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I kind of settled on commodities broker. but then realized it wasn't for me. But I learned about finance. Year 2000, I listened to CNBC, didn't know nothing they was talking about. Year 2002, I knew everything they was talking about. You got to learn, man. Learn how to learn. Once you learn the vocabulary, everything else is easy. Now you get to put your creativity to it.
Hmm.
If you understand what they're talking about, now you can put your creativity to it. Now it's a whole, you put the street game to it. Street game to it. I get to take it, put the street game to it, and bring it back to the street game, make the street game better for some.
And
I
yet
mean,
you took that tragedy and you end up having, one of the biggest records in the music industry.
in the history of recorded music. And nobody knows who I am because of how I carry myself. I get to live my life. And when I want to turn it on, I can turn it on. But for me, there's just more to life than that. My father taught me that at a young age. And I listened. And it's like you can't chase it. And that's what happens to artists. They chase it. Then they turn to drugs, and then they just fall off, or they become old and bitter. And I was not going to become an old and bitter rapper. I was going to fight, right? And today, we get to go sing that song every weekend for a whole bunch of money. We get to do television appearances for a bunch of money. We get a royalty check because we fought and we prevailed. Now, we don't get what we want, but the fact that we getting money after 30 years and I make a good living and will always get that money, that's what I try to teach people. They be like, DC, man, put me in the game. I was like, all right, read this book. And 99% of them don't read the book. But the ones that do come back like, I got it, but I still don't kind of understand. I'll be like, let me explain it to you. Now I explain it to them. They're like, I still don't understand. I was like, look, man, I have full confidence that you won't get taken advantage of in the music industry because I've given you the back end first. The money, the clothes, the women, all that stuff, that's the front end. But the back end is what do you have when all that fades? The only thing you got left is your rights or nothing because somebody else beat you out of it. So now that you've read that book, I have full confidence that that will never happen to you. So even if you have a mediocre record, you can live off and eat off of that record forever if you hustle it because you own the rights to it. I mean, you can put it in a commercial, you can put it in a movie, you can make that entity something that lasts the test of time. And that's what I did with Whoop There It Is because I realized when I'm sitting in a movie theater looking at Elf in 2003 and I didn't even know about it and I'm pissed off. But then I put it to the back of my mind and I said, dude, you tripping. I said, you got a forever hit record. I said, Will Ferrell is dancing on the table to Elf. This record is going to last forever because this is a Christmas movie. It is a blockbuster Christmas movie. It is going to last forever. Like Miracle on 42nd Street, like all the Christmas movies that we watched when we were little kids, all the claymation stuff, Elf and Whoop There It Is will be there forever. Now it's up to you to go get your money. And that's what I did. I hustled because ain't nobody going to give you nothing. So you better figure out how to go get your money off of every opportunity, even if you don't get paid for it. And that is a hard pill to swallow. But you
But
know,
the opposite of that, uh, would you see as those, type of people, who not listening, who's not doing the hustle, who not putting in the work, would you consider them to be have like a entitled mentality?
mm-mm. It's all over the place. Some people lazy, some people stubborn, some people prideful. I've watched pride kill a lot of people, especially black men. Black men's pride don't let them go to the doctor. I don't need to go physical. I'm good. I feel good. You, ain't nothing wrong with me. Yeah, you won't. By the time you feel something is wrong with you, it's too late. I'm constantly watching my health because the health is all you got. I watch pride kill people because they are so busy trying to be right. And I love being wrong because being wrong is the path to being right. And the fact that you can admit it, even though it kills you inside, you have now sequestered your ego and killed your pride. And now every possibility of your mind is open. Your mind is open to every possibility. And now you flourish because you're not stuck in your ways and double down and triple down on something that you know in your heart ain't true. Right? How many people we see do that?
A whole lot, and I have a I
Exactly.
have a I have a term I have a term for that too.
Uh-huh.
I called it a blind reality. That's why
Yeah.
I called it a blind reality. And it
And
becomes a denied reality when, you know, I mean, you wrong, the truth comes out and you
you still like,
still
and
like,
I just eat it. I just like, you know what? You was right. Yep, you was right. No excuses. I'm wrong. And I eat it. I go in the corner. I lick my wounds. But 10 minutes later, all that negativity turns into positive energy because I didn't react. But other people, they'll argue you down and they'll go down that rabbit hole of untruth, and now they're truly lost because that is their way to truth, is to win arguments. And I don't be arguing with people. I just be like, hey man, stay over there and keep thinking that bull. I'm gonna go and figure out what I have common sense, and I'm gonna figure out what it is for real. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong, and I
mhm,
will fix it and become better. Right? People are like, well, you do this, this, that, and that. I was like, you know what? Okay, you're right. I'll get better. I'll be better. You're not gonna worry about. You won't have to worry about that with me no more. I'll be better. I'll make myself better. And even though that kills me inside, you know, I've killed my pride. Pride is not a factor in it. It's not a factor in my decision. And believe me, everything I'm saying is easier said than done. But if you don't react to it, it kind of dissipates. Poof. But when you react to it, it festers. And you're always thinking about it. And that's why I do these podcasts too, because I have to check myself. I'm in a mastermind, 50 people, and it's irritating because I feel I am in college and they're in sixth grade, but then I'm wrong because these are successful people. But all these successful people are stuck for one reason or the other. And I know why a lot of them are stuck because I have skills that they don't have, but then they have skills I don't have. So why aren't we hustling with each other? Right? But that is a practice in humility, and it is a practice in listening because everything ain't about you, DC. And like I said, I have to check myself. It happens, man. We human.
what does resurrection mean to you?
Never quitting. I mean, sometimes you're gonna be broke. Sometimes you're not gonna feel good. Sometimes you can't figure it out. But if you never quit, you eventually get through it. I don't quit ever. Ever. And the pandemic taught me that there are no mistakes, there are no missed opportunities because you can go back and correct all of it. Perfect example, we did a record with Mickey Mouse. I taught the voices of Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse how to rap in 1994. They taught me about voiceover. I'm in the bowels of Disney. We're recording this record. And they're like, you be a natural at voiceover. And I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, whatever. But I'm whoop, there it is. So I ain't even studying them. And I beat myself up for years because I was there. And my hubris as a young man couldn't see it because I was blinded to all my bull crap. Right? And I was just young. Then, 1996, my manager is friends with the president of New Line Cinema, brand new company. And we're in the office talking. And he's like, "Yeah, I think I might want to cast you for this new movie. It's Wesley Snipes and LL Cool J are fighting for the lead." I think that might have a part for you. It's a vampire movie called Blade. I'm like, yeah, talk to my manager. I beat myself up for years because I was there. But then my Aunt Judy tells me this. She said, baby, sometimes in life, we just not ready. And I've always remembered that. And now I am a voice artist. I am a actor. Just wasn't ready. And now I'm in TV shows, movies, national TV, national campaigns for products, voiceover, all of that on a professional level. And now I can do that the rest of my life. So there are no mistakes. There are no Now I'm not gonna go trial for the Denver Broncos being 50 something, but you see what I'm saying? As long as you breathing, there ain't nothing on this earth you can't do. It's about your hustle. It's about how you learn about it. How do you go get it? And I choose to hustle. I'm gonna learn whatever I gotta learn. Right? I'm gonna use whatever tactics I can use. Like this right here. I write down everything that I can think of in notebook after notebook after notebook because my ass is old and I'll forget. But most people's pride can't let them see that they can't remember the things that they're supposed to do. So now they're always chasing their tail because there's something that they should have done years ago that they didn't do when they could have written it down and got it done. Tactics. Right? There's 15 things I need to get done. But I've had a good day because I've got 30 things done today. So I got those 15 things done that I didn't do today written down, and those are the first things I'm going to do tomorrow. So every day is fruitful. You see what I'm saying? Learn how to learn. It ain't enough to just learn. You got to figure out different ways to learn and keep stuff inside. Every acting class, voiceover class, everything I do, mastermind, I record it because you cannot remember hours worth of material. I don't care who you are. Beginning of the pandemic, I was like everybody else. What the hell am I going to do? Can't do shows. Can't do this. Can't do that. But I can rock this microphone. Lucky for me, I record everything. So I recorded all my voiceover classes from 2009 to now. Just record them. Never listened to them. Just had them on the computer. I said, let me go archive all these, put them in order, organized everything, and listen to my first voiceover class. And it was heartbreaking because I had to listen to myself 10 years ago talk. And I thought it was my voiceover coaches that they weren't teaching me right when I realized it was me. I was wrong. I said, but you know what? I listened. I was like, no, I know what they're talking about because I'm an actor. Actor can help voiceover. Voiceover helps acting. DJing helps this. This helps that. Everybody told me when I was young, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. But if you live long enough, learn how to learn and hustle, you become masterful at all those trades, and they come back to serve you in ways you can never possibly imagine. And now you are truly ambidextrous in life because there's nothing you can't do. And I did that first voiceover over, and it was purely angelic because it was just beautiful. And I realized that was the first time I had mastery over my voice. And then I started booking like crazy because that was COVID, and that was my voice. We're all in this together. COVID. That's what that voice was. And I was perfect for it. Then I did my first movie. I didn't start acting until 2017. Start voiceover. I'm doing movies during the pandemic. And then here come Geico. Right? I've been on P-Valley, Dynasty. I've got credits as far as the eye can see for all kind of things. That's why I love my life because I get to do a whole bunch of stuff a little bit. So it never becomes a job. But it always makes me money. So I have several streams of income. So all that jack of all trades stuff that everybody tells you about, you master all that stuff, you always getting money. You got to say no to a lot of stuff because you can only do one thing at one time. Like right now, I got to go get this tag team money because it's good. But if it dries up, then I can go back to acting. I can go to voiceover. I can do SEO. I can do so many different things, but they all work together. So
I want to
my
read this up.
advice is hustle. Huh?
So one day I pulled up the actual press release in regards to that Geico commercial. I want to read it to the audience. It was dated February 4th, 2021.
Yep.
The
Yep.
new tag team Geico commercial is the brand's most seen ad in America right now. The Martin Agency Adweek's 2020 U.S. Agency of the Year and tag team creators of the 90s multi-platinums smash hit Whoop, There It Is, join forces for another ultra memorable Geico commercial. This is the second time Geico and tag team have worked together. And I do want to point out that this commercial had went on live on December 26th,
Mm-hmm.
2020, and has already become a favorite in the advertising world. It was named the Real Ad of the Week by Real 360 after a few days on air. And TV stations, networks, cable, whatever, they played the hell out of this commercial.
Mm-hmm. And that press release was the very press release I was talking to the lady about, the PRSA. That press release I dropped on a Wednesday. I get a call Thursday from the Dan Patrick Show. They're like, "We gotta have tag team on. We're on the Dan Patrick Show on Friday, national television, talking about Tom Brady and strip clubs." I asked the producer, "How'd you pick us?" I asked everybody that. He said, "We saw the press release." What? You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That is the span of 4 days. You see what I'm saying? I wrote that press release. I write all my press releases, then I get people to edit them. I'll get 3 writers to edit them. I come up with 3 different versions. I use them for 3 different things. I wrote the one for the Masked Singer, dropped it today, and it's going bananas because everybody's not going to look at the Masked Singer, but people's going to look on their phones and they're going to see Yahoo and they're going to see Tag Team puts on a stellar performance on the 100th episode of the Masked Singer. And then there's a whole, because see, press releases are Trojan horses for me. So I only do it when I do it, get a headline. So I get to talk about me, tag team, my acting, my anything I want to talk about that I want to bring to the world. I get to put out in the universe because AP is going to pick it up. There's millions of people that saw me on television last night. Now there's going to be millions more who see those headlines. When they see, though, you don't know who is looking, and somebody might call and say, "DC, I got a movie role for you. Here's a $500,000 if you want it." Now, I don't expect anything. No, there's no quid pro quo. But I'm going to plant them seeds. And when you plant seeds, what I know from my great uncle Hardin being a farmer and my granddaddy being a farmer and me coming from a family of farmers, there is always going to be a harvest. Some years are going to be bananas, just greater than ever, but some years it's going to be kind of slim. But there's always going to be some food because you know how to grow seeds. Some of them times it's out of your control. Might be a tornado come through, ruin the whole crop. But you're going to get something out of it. And you're going to come back next year and you're going to plant those seeds again. And you don't know how those seeds are going to come back and how good that fruit's going to be 2, 3 years from now. So that's why I do this. And then press releases aren't just for press. Press releases are for SEO. I get to put statements that I get to use to give me authority with Google in those press releases. Then when Google crawls those press releases and sees all that stuff, Google goes out and looks at what the Masked Singer done. I'm the subject of Entertainment Weekly. I get to use that article and use it to my advantage in SEO to give me more authority on Google to get in front of the people who can pay me. So me being on TV has nothing to do with me being on TV. It is the opportunity to take one opportunity and turn it into 10.
One of the things that have not been discussed is what was your relationship with Steve Rowland?
Oh, that's my brother. Man, we come from a community of friends. We all family. So we don't even need to talk about that. Me and him is that's my brother. So we do everything together. He live on the other side of town, so we rarely see each other, but we see each other every weekend. So it works. It's cool because everybody used to see me. I never would have to go see anybody, but everybody come see me because they would always come to the club, and that'd be our honeycomb hideout. So you come to the club and in the midst of a good time, it was always a party and be in a DJ booth with me, and we just kept everything. We always been friends. We bring people from out of town, people that went to high school with me, people went to college with me. They always knew they could find me at a club. Now it's a little bit different, and I do miss it. But that's why I go to conventions. I just got back from the Grant Writers Association, met a bunch of beautiful people. I go to these conferences and I meet people and I'm become lifelong friends with them. And these people teach me the game. I went to a grant writers conference to learn about how grants work, end up meeting a funder who gives out more money than anybody in that grant conference. And she gave me the game. I left the conference early because there was nothing more I could have learned. And now I have an ally, so when I want to do what I need to do, I have funding or I have a way or someone who I can talk to who deals with gazillions and gazillions of dollars from philanthropists, the government, everybody, and come up with ways to do things that nobody else can even think of. There was that luncheon had 80 tables. I sat down at table 44. What are the odds of one of the board, one of the persons of the board, sitting down eating lunch with me, finding out that I am who I am, and then we coming up with a master plan to go get me this paper? All from joining an organization because I wanted to learn about grants to help somebody else and end up helping myself and my cause. Join an organization, man. I joined organizations so I can pay to perform in front of all the buyers. I'm in an organization called IEBA, International Entertainment Buyers Association. Those are the people who put on concerts. They're from all over the world, 5,000 people strong. We performed in front of them. I had to pay. I got that money back the next day with one show. Now that's just going to, and those shows might, and we've been getting shows ever since, but those shows might not come for another year, another 2 years. But the fact that I got to audition in front of people who can pay me, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to do it in front of the television executives. I'm in that organization. I'm in the college organizations where the college, NACA, National Association of College Activities. NSA, Georgia. I'm in local chapters and the national chapters, right? I'm in the editorial freelancers writing organization because I was looking for writers, but end up being in that organization. Now I'm friends with journalists. You see what I'm saying? It's about relationships. It's about getting with the people who can teach you something. And people are like, well, they don't teach it. Yeah, you can go join an organization for $200-$300. And if you ain't got the money, call every number in that organization and act like you're going to join that organization. And while they are pitching you, they are teaching you. Then it's up to your hustle.
You're really dropping some knowledge here.
Think about it, man. It's just practical. Everything I'm saying can be done by anyone. But it's so different that people think, man, I don't know about that. Don't I gotta do this? Don't I gotta do that? I just told you what you could do. Pick up the phone and call them and say, why should I join your organization? And they'll tell you. I put people in. I have a friend, I want to do a laundromat. All right. I'm gonna put you in this organization, Coin Laundry Association of America. I end up learning everything about it. But then once you learn everything about it, it's up to your hustle. Another friend, she wanted to do a notary. I put her in a notary writer. I put her in a notary National Notary Association. They have all the resources. They have all the people who've been notaries for 30, 40 years. And you can't come up off of that? When somebody give you the game, that's your hustle. Your hustle ain't there. Ain't nothing I can do for you. So when I put people in organizations, I learn everything that they should be learning to try to help them. But at least I know it. And then that comes in handy if I ever want to have a side business doing that. All I gotta do is set up a website because I know SEO. Hire some people. They work for me. They do the notary. Make them learn how to do it, and now I got another business on the side that's making money. Now that doesn't fit in my big ball of focus because I'm trying to get chunks. You get chunks by doing commercials, being on TV, concerts, touring. That's my thing. That's what I love. So, I mean, there's so many. Anything that there's an organization for it. Podcasters organization. Tons of those. I've learned from those. I'm what they call an expert guest because I chose to flip on the other side and just run my mouth. But because I do 3-4 podcasts a day, that has turned into a motivational speaking career because I'm so cold with the tongue now. I learn more from talking. All this stuff is practical stuff, but it had to be hashed out. It had to be talked about. Sometimes, let me tell you something. I done got 3-4 ideas just talking tonight. So thank you for letting me come on your podcast and run my damn mouth. Because you learn more from talking about it. Right? I can tell by your silence that the nuggets are just falling out of the sky on people. But that's because I do this. And these are practical solutions, and you don't have to do all of them. Just take one. Join an organization that you want to be if there's something you want to do, if you're an automotive person, or if you're thinking about you want to be a nurse, or join an organization, they got the resources. They can take you from A to Z quickly. You still got to go A to Z, but you ain't got to take a year to go A to Z. You could do it in 2 weeks. Then the hustle's up to you. And then you piece that with something else. I mean, virtual assistants. There's so many organizations you could be in that you work from home. Join an organization, come up. It has helped me in ways it has helped me in ways that are going to help me years from now. Me doing podcasts, I don't got to go to Comic-Con for podcasts. I get invited to do all kind of stuff because of podcasts. I got 2 new financial advisors because of podcasts. I rarely do a podcast on music. It is all about whatever. We just get to talking. And I get to spit in this game. And then things happen. And people learn. And don't get me wrong, all this is easier said than done, but I'm learning as we speak now. That's why I'm so animated. Because I'm learning. My mind's going 100 miles a minute about the things that I got to do, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, all while I'm talking to you and giving you practical solutions to add to your hustle to elevate everybody. But if people think somebody going to give them something, I can't help you. Because all I can control ever is what I do. But, hey, man, I got to get up off of here, man. I'm past my bedtime. I'm old. You got
Well,
anything else?
no, I think that will pretty much wrap it up. Um, One of the things that we do here is we ask the guests, do they have any last words, that they want to say before we close out? Oh, by the way, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how they can get in touch with
So, my name is DC Glenn. Type it in, you're gonna find me. It's that. The ability to be found. I ain't about to tell nobody no social. Type in DC Glenn, you're gonna find me. Of the platform of your choice. Because I made it that way. You see what I'm saying? That is what you have to do. You have to be found. I can be found in a way where if you need me for voiceover, you're gonna find me that way. If you need me for acting, you're gonna find me that way. If you need me for tag team, you're gonna find me that way. You need me for SEO, you're gonna find me that way. You need me for this, you need me for that, you need me for that. You're gonna find me. You type in tag team, you type in whoop, there it is. You type in anything that got to do with me, you're gonna find me.
And I want to I want to vouch for that because when I was looking for guests, on a podcast and I type in your name, do you know how many entries there are in Google alone?
Yeah.
When I type in your name,
And that
it
is
is
why I do podcasts.
ridiculous. It is absolutely mind-boggling of all the entries that I came up with,
Yeah.
after I typed in your name.
Because I do podcasts every day and I'm gonna send you some information so you can put my name in the title or put something about me somewhere in the in the podcast because most podcasters aggregate to other platforms. So at its best, I'm on Spotify, I'm on iHeartRadio, I'm on all these platforms and Google crawls and they pull all up under my name. And now you see a list of podcasts that are is go page after page after page after page after page. Not
Yeah,
including
that reminds me. My podcast is featured on all of those
exactly.
platforms that you just mentioned. So if tomorrow I upload this to Facebook or
Mm-hmm.
YouTube or Instagram or Anchor or whatever,
In the title somewhere.
it's
You're gonna have it in the description somewhere. You're gonna have whoop there it is. You're gonna have something about me that when
mhm.
Google snatches it, because I have such authority out there, it's gonna bring everything else out there and put it all together in synergy, and now it knows where to put it. That doesn't happen if I don't do SEO. You see what I'm saying? Everything I
Mhm.
do has 6 different reasons for doing it. Me doing the press releases. The fact that you found that first press releases disappear. But because I know SEO, every press release I got out there has stuck. We're talking thousands of backlinks back to me because I can show you the list of how every podcast gets on. I'm talking AP, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. Even though it's a press release, it sticks. So now the things that I put in a press release, I could take those and block quote them, put them as references, and write Wikipedia pages. Now everything can be verified. You see what I'm saying? I could do 10 different things with this podcast that all serve me in a way that elevates me and makes me easier to be found to the masses. So that's what it's all about. And I just urge people to, I try to help people, but it ain't for everybody. That's the thing. This ain't for everybody because this requires sacrifice. It really does. It requires having to say no. I've done everything. I've balled to the hardest, to the high. I've been a DJ at the biggest clubs in Atlanta. I'm good. I'm good. But I'm just starting out on all this other stuff. I mean, it's just I'm having the time of my life, man. And with that, I bid everybody a good night, good evening. Thank you for having me. And if there's one word I leave you with, hustle. Just hustle and figure it out. Learn how to learn. Join them organizations. They'll teach you. I'm telling you, don't cost you nothing. And they give you the game. So thank you, man.
Thank you
I'm
so
out.
much. Appreciate it.
You
Thank you
got it.
so much.
I'm
And
gonna
we're
send you
going to
something.
end here and
Yeah.
appreciate you guys, everyone joining in. And we're gonna leave on that note. Everybody take care. Have a great evening.
Peace.